So load shedding has returned to darken our homes again. Eskom telling us we should keep our candles at the ready until about 10 p.m. on Tuesday night. At the same time, more corruption claims coming to light around the Medupi and Kusile projects on the back of charges brought against former executives of the parastatal. Let's talk now to mining and energy advisor Ted Blom from the Energy Expert Coalition. Ted, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with that load shedding, because the news that we were going to get load shedding came about 10 minutes before the first session of load shedding kicked in on Sunday. Anything strange about the short notice?
Yeah, I find it very strange, given that Eskom must have known that the system was tight and constrained during the course of the weekend. I suspect they thought they could hum their way through the weekend and maybe only announce it during the week. But I guess they were caught again with their pants around their ankles, and they were forced to play the hand. But what people don't seem to recognize is that there's been load shedding in the townships virtually every night and every morning for the best part of this year. So this is additional load shedding. I know Eskom calls the township blackouts load reduction, but we're talking about semantics here. It's the same game.
I've spoken about this before, and of course they say that load reduction is done in areas where there are lots of illegal connections and they're trying to preserve the grid. But as you say, it's still shedding from the grid ultimately. Also news from Eskom this Monday is that Eskom has given consent to Duba coal supply agreement, securing coal for the facility. I presume that's good news for our energy supplies?
It's maybe good news for security of supply. But it's very bad news on the pricing side, because Eskom has effectively consented to pay Duva collieries more than 250 rand a ton extra after there was a standoff from South 32, or a blackmailing situation, and Eskom decided to cough up. The strange thing is everybody bitched like hell when the Guptas wanted more than 500 rand a ton for coal, and now Eskom's gladly consenting. In fact, if the original deal had gone through, it would have been, that's a 68 billion rand deal, which the unions and I opposed, and we've actually laid fraud charges against Eskom, South 32, Sereti, the ministers, etc. So this is just a watered-down part of that corrupted deal, because Eskom didn't go out and open tender. Now suddenly they've got National Treasury approval. Again, don't know how come, because this hasn't been a transparent process. So I guess the fun and games are about to start when we get those fraud charges investigated eventually by SAPS and the SIU, both who've received the fraud charges claim sheets, and have not collected the supporting documents.
I must just note on that Duva coal supply agreement, Eskom said that they noted the hardship review and due diligence confirmed the mine was indeed loss-making. So they're saying that they understood that mine was loss-making. If they didn't take action, they would actually and you don't believe a word of what I'm reading you, but basically they're saying that indeed it was in dire straits. People would have lost their jobs, so they've renegotiated. But I want to actually move on a little, because frankly it's quite hard to keep track of the corruption allegations swirling around Eskom. And to be fair to Eskom, we have to acknowledge that Bowman, it was at the behest of Eskom that some of these inquiries have got underway. I know that you're on record for talking about huge corruption at Medupi and Kusile. In the Sunday Times over the weekend, we read more about this alleged graft. I mean, astonishing stories. It does seem like the new team under Andre de Ruyter is trying to get to the heart of the rot. We are seeing arrests. Are you confident we're making our way through, or not at all?
Sally, this whole thing is very, very biased and skewed. If anybody wanted to investigate the corruption, they should have started when the corruption started. And that happened from 2001 onwards. In 2006, I've got documentary proof of Billiton, BHP Billiton, South 32 today, corrupting Eskom to the tune and cheating them of 450 million rand. I have an acknowledgement of that transaction in that they offered to pay back some of the money. Eskom was so competent that they couldn't even secure the payback of the excess money or the corrupted money. Again, in 2010, there was corruption at Optimum. The same company that's now doing the Duva deal pleaded hardship, if it's a new word to your lexicon, and got a doubling in the price of Optimum coal at that time. The Guptas pleaded hardship, as well as the Glencore guys pleaded hardship, and they also got the coal price moved from 190 odd rand to 600 odd rand a ton. So yes,
isn't Eskom in a bit of stuck between a rock, or should I say a lump of coal, and a hard place with some of these things? Because they have to keep the lights on. They're working with they inherited a system that is not working very well, but they have to keep our lights on somehow.
Sally, I was part of a commission to do a roadmap for Eskom's coal in 2007. Brian Damas went on record and said he's going to open up 40 new coal mines. The problem is Eskom's done nothing about it. This hardship or difficult position was self-engineered, as the load shedding of 2008 was self-engineered.
Right. Ted,
so,
I cannot let you go, and I'm so sorry to jump in, but I have to ask you about the power ships. There are concerns about this contract. The Minerals Portfolio Committee is saying it's not going to probe it. There are some red flags around the length of the contract, which is 20 years. There's environmental concerns. And some say, some newspaper reports are saying the dice was kind of loaded in favour of the liquid gas ships. What is your view on the power ships? A neat, sail-it-in solution to our power problems, or another arms deal in the making?
Sally, let me press my comment by saying that I didn't realise the ANC had messed Eskom up so bad that it's going to take more than 20 years to fix it up. Normally, emergency deals are 3 to 5 years. 20 years in the emergency sector is unheard of. So I think this is another arms deal in the making, certainly.
All right. Well, Ted Blom, thank you so much. Thank you for chatting to us. So he's got concerns about power ships as well. It is a story we've been keeping an eye on, and I think we will carry on with that. That, of course, was a Ted Blom, energy expert, chatting to us. And, of course, Ted is from the Energy Expert Coalition.